Welcome to our Meno Expert Chat. Do you feel like your body is not playing fair? Maybe the things that you used to do just aren't working anymore. And there's so much advice out there that you're not sure what your actual beautiful midlife menopausal bod needs. So you're not alone, and that's what we're here to discuss. We're going to decode midlife and menopausal body changes because it can be really frustrating and confusing, not to mention exhausting. So decoding and understanding in simple terms like how our bodies are changing is what we're here for, so that you just get some really basic knowledge, some real stuff, factual stuff, some simple tips to support you feel more energized and empowered. Now, it doesn't matter where you are today. What we know for a fact is that helping you feel better and manage your symptoms to thrive in your careers and in your lives is why we exist here at Meno Collective. I'm Melissa and I'm the founder of Meno Collective. I struggled through menopause, navigating menopause, work and life at the peak of my career. And I realised there was a complete lack of support, discussion and awareness on how to help women through this stage. So that's what we're here for. Meno Collective helps women just like you navigate menopause and work and life with more ease. And every week, I'm really fortunate and privileged to be connected with women, our members, those in our research groups that give us real insights on what they need, what they want, and what's missing out there. Just recently, one woman told me she was fat shamed by three, not just one, but three doctors who said to her that, she just needed to go and lose some more weight. We know that some of you are exercising and some of you may not be, but absolutely exercise and moving your body is one of the best prescriptions out there. It's an antidote. Your symptoms of perimenopause and menopause hate it. So that's what we want to empower you with, just starting with where you are, minus blame, minus shame, and we're going to keep it real for you. So I'm here today with Julianne Moore. She is our resident expert here on the couch. She is a women's and pelvic health physiotherapist. They know a lot of stuff to help the midlife and menopausal woman. She has got all the quals. She's got a master's in continence and women's health and physiotherapy. She's a member of the Australian College of Physiotherapy, and I could go on. But what she's interested in is helping you thrive through your lifespan. She's got a real interest and passion for helping us manage our pelvic floor, our challenges there, sexual pain and sexual health. And she's got a really keen interest in, as I said before, exercise and movement as a prescription to help your weight, your body weight changes, your bones, your strength, and your symptoms through this menopause transition. So welcome, Julianne.
Thank you so much, Melissa. It's lovely to be with you.
Now, I'm going to dive in. Now, many women tell us that they're uncomfortable because they've put on weight through perimenopause and then menopause transition. They're being hard on themselves about that. They're often trying to do, all the claims out there, get rid of your menopause belly, take this supplement, do this program, change your whole life, change your gut health, blah, blah, blah. They try it. The promise doesn't work, right? It makes them feel worse, like they've failed, and we want to be the opposite of that. So just help us understand, to the level set, like what happens here to our bodies in midlife? What's the real stuff?
So there's a few things. There's just the basics of that as we do get a bit older, that our muscles gradually lose mass unless you're doing the really strong levels of exercise, not strong levels, good levels of exercise. So if you've been someone who's lucky enough to look lean and beautiful without actually exercising, it's going to be more of a problem then. Because you don't
Surprise.
I always say the more muscles you have, the more red wine you can drink on the couch without putting on weight.
So this reality of progressive muscle mass loss is just something that happens to
From
us,
30,
right?
from 30.
Yeah.
But what happens is that natural thing becomes a lot more sped up as our body doesn't actually produce estrogen.
And so what does that do? You know, we often hear this, oh, my metabolism slows down. Well, that's not exactly it, is it, when you really look at these changes?
Well, the thing is that muscle actually burns more energy, so it actually does slow metabolism. But
there's a reason.
There's a reason, and it actually can be turned around by rebuilding muscle. And I think that's what people don't really get.
Yes.
So just saying to someone, go out and exercise, isn't what the best thing is. You actually need to think about your bones as well, but definitely muscle building exercises together with your cardio stuff.
Right.
And walking.
And if you're thinking, ooh, muscle building, I really want you to challenge yourselves here, because we're not talking, and I don't have it with me, but, you know, my can of chickpeas is one of my favourite ways to build muscles. So please, we're here around midlife and menopause, so let's keep going, because don't be intimidated by the muscle men at the gym.
Absolutely not. We women cannot build muscles like that. It doesn't matter how much we go to the gym. I mean, even looking at bodybuilders, the female bodybuilders are very different. We can't become Arnold Schwarzenegger. It just doesn't happen. But we need to do something to build muscles that's different from what you normally do in everyday life.
Yeah.
So if you've always been a runner and you just run, you're not going to help with building extra muscles. Okay.
And I want to call out the walking here, because most of us love walking, and we love the chat, and we love the coffee and the connection. So there's heaps of really great benefits for walking in midlife. But I also want to challenge us, because
it's not good enough
necessarily enough.
It's not enough load.
Right.
It's not enough load for our bones. But having said that, from our other parts of our body, you don't want to be jumping off and jumping up boxes either.
So I actually went to the gym this morning, and that is exactly what was on my mind. You know, a million years ago, aka, you know, in my 20s, I worked in gyms for years, and I was a trainer and so forth. And back then, you know, we gave a higher level of one-on-one support around, you know, a program and all this sort of stuff. I feel like now gyms are often just kind of free range. And so the support's not there. So you're seeing people jump up and down off stuff, or being intimidated, frankly, not knowing what to do. So ducking out of there. So we actually need to know, like, what it is that we can do to support the body at this stage of life that doesn't feel like out of reach.
Yeah, and even if you read about some bone health type of things, a lot of the time they talk about jumping down off things or skipping, but you can actually get the same things from doing resistance, and that can be as simple as using your body weight. Yeah. It might be, you don't have to do squats with hundreds of kilos on your back. It might actually be standing up and sitting down 10 times every time you go to stand up, to build up your muscles around your hips. Yeah. And doing that sort of exercise then has the advantage of helping you to keep your metabolism ticking over.
Yeah, so there's multiple benefits.
Yeah, but the cardio is really important as well.
Yeah.
So you've probably heard of everyone talks about HIIT training. You know, we did HIIT. And the high intensity interval training is actually part of it. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be all out at a gym. No. It might mean that you walk a little bit faster so you get puffed, and then you can walk slowly and chat. Or you go up and down a hill, fast up a hill and then slow back down. Or my favourite is the stationary bike.
Right, so these are all, like, there's some really good options to do at home. We've talked about the gym. Like, you don't even need the gym. And I think just that little bit of resistance to doing something different. Like, there's so many resources out there. And just getting a little bit of a sweat on. You know,
getting a sweat on.
So many good benefits for that.
And I think that sometimes it can be a bit intimidating. I know it is for myself, going into a gym when there's a whole lot of 20-year-old guys sort of looking at themselves in the mirror, when you just want to get yourself into shape and feel good. So having a nice thing to do at home, and a lot of people did that during COVID. So I think it's actually a really good thing to get going.
Yeah, it's a good time for that. And you just mentioned, I mean, feeling good and feeling strong physically is obviously really connected to how we feel emotionally and mentally. Yet I know, and we know, you know, that a lot of the time women are looking down, say, at their bellies, for example, and they're not feeling good when they do that. And they may actually be just putting up with it because, again, they think, well, this is kind of midlife and this is just the deal. So just as a gentle kind of challenge coming from a place of absolute love and good health, what can we sort of suggest, or what invitation have we got for those women?
I think that you've just got to start with something that's easy for you to do and commit to it, and you've got to treat exercise like you do any other appointment.
Yeah.
Start slow. You don't have to say join a gym straight away.
No.
If you haven't been an exerciser, it's like when you start doing anything, you've got to gradually build up. Get a friend involved, it's really good. Or getting someone to give you a little bit of a program so that you're actually accountable.
Yeah.
I know that if I don't have an appointment to do something, if I haven't written it down, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, so make it fun. Be fun, be often, I say. But let's talk about maybe what that would look like in the context of a week, because I think what I'm hearing you say is we don't need to, nor should we, for our health, in terms of our organs and other things that are, like visceral fat and, that pose a number of health risks. Like, we don't need to just put up with it, but we do need to figure out what is going to be a supportive next step that you can build some confidence around. So what might that look like in a, like, I don't want to wade into like lots of dietary changes again. I mentioned all the gurus out there. So what could like a week look like around a bit of strength, a bit of cardio to manage kind of, frankly, body weight changes and symptoms?
I think you've got to move every day. I think that's really important. And even if it's just going for a 10-minute walk in the morning, the afternoon on some days. But I think really 3 times a week you have to have a really good workout, okay? You can't work out with weights or resistance. If you're doing really high loads, you can't do that 2 days in a row. But if you're just using body weight, you can actually do that sort of thing every single day.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're able to fit in. Because so many people say to me,
what you've got energy for, right?
Yeah.
Because I know, like,
but it gives you energy.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
When I used to, my alarm would wake me up, and I literally had been asleep for maybe 2 hours. Menopause related, like sleep disturbances, night sweats, insomnia. So getting up and exercising was literally like the last thing you feel like doing. Like, you just have no energy, and so then you feel really bad about that, right? So if that's where you're at. Again, the idea is sort of how can you just start small and do something, because it will give you energy and you just got to get started.
Yeah, it's hard. It's also picking the time of day that you're going to do it. So you don't want to do a really hard cardio session just before you go to bed, because that's going to make you more awake.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's really important to, as I said, to plan it and make yourself accountable, because once you get into it, you're going to feel so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're touching on some of the very real challenges that, are get in the way between our intention to move and exercise and then the reality. Women are carrying a lot, we know that. We've got to drop a ball somewhere, but we don't want it to be in movement. But something else that comes up is, I was just talking to someone last week and she said, I have not been going to the gym like I used to because my body is aching in ways that, I never have before. And this is something that it often takes hearing someone talk about this idea of kind of joint pain and body aches to connect the dots that this is another part of the menopause transition.
Yeah, and I think that changes in the tissues around the area because of the hormones can be part of that pain experience. There's actually some chat about the fact that having a lack of estrogen, as happens at that time, increases your pain sensitivity.
Oh,
and you might have noticed that when you were breastfeeding as well.
Yeah.
You might have noticed that you have a little bit more of, I call it sort of the muffin top.
Yeah.
And that happens again at menopause.
Yeah.
So it's not that you can't lose the tummy, it's just that you probably don't store it other places. And unfortunately we can't go, let's do 100 sit-ups so we can get rid of our tummy fat. No, it's just about generally exercising. And you do have to think about amounts of food, because possibly what you were able to eat when you were 20 in an amount is different than what you can now.
So
it's not about not eating foods, it's more about, and so we're not going into food much, but it does have an effect.
Yeah, totally. Because that whole equation is thrown out with the
Yeah.
loss of muscle mass, and I think even insulin resistance, and
Yeah.
so they're just biological facts. Like, it's not, you know, your fault that you're putting on weight, but what we're trying to give you is some things that
Yep.
can help it very specifically at this life stage. But if a woman is experiencing that sort of feeling that joint pain, you may not be connecting the dots that it's joint pain, but is that so? Do we exercise or not?
You do, but you want to make sure that the exercise you're doing is right. So it might mean that you need to specifically do some strengthening around the joints. Maybe you've been running, or maybe you've been doing a step class, but maybe you haven't actually been working on the muscles that support that joint. So it might mean you need to bring it back. Then slightly build it up. It might mean you need to add something different in, maybe some clinical Pilates that's more about control and strength at the same time. It will be individual for every person. I think I say this with everything, that it's not...
Which is why we often need to go and see someone like Julianne.
I would say one size fits nobody. You know? Because we're all different in what we did even before menopause.
Yeah, that starting point.
Yeah. A lot of people, as I said, the people that I tend to see with the most weight problems are people that haven't had to worry about their weight and haven't had to exercise all the way through.
And it catches up with them.
Yeah, that's probably a lot. I'm not saying that's everybody, but that is a thing. There is genetic predisposition as well.
Because, you know, we know that this is, is often like a confidence crushing time. Like that lack of self-belief and increased self-doubt, anxiety, that comes up a lot for women in our community. And so this is just another sort of thing that, and then we've got all these 20-year-olds jumping around on these apps and showing us all this stuff that is not right for us right now, right? It's like I feel worse about ourselves.
Absolutely. And the thing is that what's right for a 20-year-old who has never been pregnant, never gone through menopause, is totally different than what's going to be right for us in our perimenopause and menopausal time. So it's about knowing what's right and not just taking the cookie cutter approach and saying that's what I need to do. It's also thinking about how exercise is affecting your muscles and your bones, and they are really specific what you need to do. You can't just go to a pump class and say that's going to fix my knee pain. You have to go and say, well, these are the problems that I have, and treat it as more of a rehabilitation type of thing.
What I can't get past is how many benefits there are to exercise. And, you know, I'm going to keep preaching on this one, you know, as we wrap it up, because 34, 37 menopause symptoms, right? So many of them do not like exercise. Like, this is a prescription that isn't necessarily free, because you might be going to Pilates or, you know, have a trainer, or be going to see someone like Julianne to get some, you know, a specific program. But oh my gosh, is it accessible, right? And we're just saying a little bit often equals a lot. So, you know, your body's changing for very legitimate biological reasons. Get your move on. I call it the rule of 150 minutes a week, added up with a mix of, you know, some strength, could be your chickpea cans, could be your cardio, but just get moving, ladies, and notice the changes. Your weight, frankly, will be an outcome of that. So I hope you menopause warriors in training have enjoyed this chat. I know you're going to have questions, but we just wanted to give you something to get started. Any final words from you?
I just think that exercise is medicine, and women just need to move. All women need to lift weights, is what I say, or body weights.
Chickpeas and Stevie Nicks, I guarantee both of them. Go for it, ladies. Notice what you notice and enjoy it. Have fun, be often. Thanks, Julianne.
Thank you.